US inflation data published on Wednesday slightly puzzled investors, especially those betting on a further weakening of the US dollar and the growth of US stock indexes. Today, the US unveiled a report on the initial jobless claims. The reading turned out to be better than expected. So, will the US stock market decline in the near future? Are all these talks about the downward correction are premature? It's hard to say for sure, but the downside potential remains intact. A significant increase in US consumer price index led to a rise in the long-term government bond yields. At the same time, futures for foreign and US indexes fell sharply on Wednesday. Today, they are also decreasing for the fourth trading day in a row. What will it lead to? The main US indexes have been extending losses for the third day in a row. This is mostly due to the expectations of a rise in inflation and the actual growth of inflation confirmed by official data. The Dow went down by 2%, while the Nasdaq Composite declined by 2.7%. However, the S&P 500 index lost the most. It has dropped by more than 2.5% in today's session. It's trading at 4,060 points. The index is most likely to consolidate in a narrow range between 4,020 and 4,070 with the prospects of a further drop. The US dollar index regained ground after a large jump in US consumer prices. Investors are afraid that the regulator will step in earlier than previously thought to combat growing inflation. The sharp jump of the US dollar formed the bottom for the US dollar index at 89.90. Today, the US dollar index is trading at 90.66. It's likely to stay in the range of 90.20 and 91.00. The US dollar added slightly against the Canadian dollar. Nevertheless, analysts believe that the loonie still has every chance to make a strong rebound, especially in oil prices decline at an accelerated pace. Today, the US dollar-Canadian dollar pair has reached the level of 1.2130 and it's likely to remain in the range of 1.2080 and 1.2180 in the near future. Thursday turned out to be full of important releases related to Bitcoin. The main news is that Tesla will no longer accept payments in Bitcoin due to concerns over the environmental impact from mining. Notably, just a month and a half ago, the famous automaker allowed its consumers to purchase vehicles for cryptocurrencies. Amid this negative news, the price of Bitcoin tumbled by more than $5,000. Currently, BTC is trading around $50,000. The level of $48,000 is seen as resistance. The main cryptocurrency will hardly fall below this value as it became known that Bitcoin's mining difficulty was adjusted upwards by another 21.53%. This may result in stable demand and an inexhaustible supply. Therefore, the price is expected to rebound, rising above the area of $52,000 and $53,000. Apparently, market participants are awaiting other supporting data on a new emerging trend of acceleration inflation. However, a sharp rise in US Treasury yields following Wednesday's statistics on higher than expected inflation figures for April, and a stronger US dollar may be the first warning sign of a new trend in the dynamics of the greenback and stocks. And that's all for today. We keep monitoring the financial market situation. Subscribe to our channel and see you tomorrow.